Paragliding. At the start, a group of friends prepares for a paragliding flight over Tulu, Colombia. Around 11 a.m., the paragliders take off from a high point, each with a camera to capture the flight. Soon after takeoff, one of the pilots notices something unusual, a metallic-looking sphere in the sky. The object moves smoothly, changing its position from the left to the right of the paragliders, and then directly in front of one of them. The cameras on the ground and in the air capture the scene, but what makes it even more mysterious is the sphere's clear reflection on the helmet of one of the paragliders. It shifts its position in the reflection just as it moves in the sky, making it difficult to explain as a trick of the light or a distant balloon. Throughout the flight, the sphere keeps following, moving with intent rather than drifting. No one on the ground or in the air can identify what it is. As the group lands, the sphere quietly leaves the area, leaving everyone puzzled. What could move like that, reflect so clearly, and appear to follow people through the sky? Would you keep flying if you saw something like this? Motionless hover. In 1995, in a remote region of Japan, an ordinary day turned into something completely unexpected. People nearby looked up and noticed a series of bright lights hovering silently above the hills. The sky was clear, and the object didn't blend in or move with the wind. It stayed completely motionless, almost as if it were suspended by something invisible. The shape was unusually distinct, not blurred or shimmering like a weather balloon or a bird. It didn't resemble anything familiar, no aircraft, no satellite, no known phenomenon. As the minutes passed, curiosity turned to puzzlement. The object seemed to defy all normal explanations. It wasn't a drone, since such technology didn't exist at the time. It wasn't part of a festival or light show. Some people speculated about military technology, while others wondered if it might be something beyond current understanding. What was the origin of that silent, motionless object over the hills of Japan? Why did it appear so clearly and then disappear without a trace? The mystery remains, leaving behind more questions than answers for everyone who witnessed that strange moment. A cluster of white objects. While walking home one evening, a person noticed something unusual in the sky. The weather was cloudy, with patches of gray covering most of the sky. As the person looked up, they spotted a cluster of white objects drifting above the neighborhood. There were more than just a few, many small bright objects, all moving together across the sky. The objects seemed to be organized in a loose formation, but not in a straight line. They glided through the clouds, at times becoming partly obscured and then reappearing. There were no obvious strings, and they weren't behaving like balloons or drones. Their movement was calm and unhurried, not darting or zigzagging, and they stayed together as a group, without separating or speeding away. The sight continued for a few minutes, with the objects gently floating, sometimes closer, sometimes fainter behind the clouds. The person couldn't identify what the white objects were. They stood for a while, watching as the shapes gradually faded from view into the cloud cover, never breaking formation. The sky returned to normal, but the memory of the odd sight lingered. Has anyone else seen a cluster of white objects in the sky during cloudy weather? What could cause so many to appear at once? Middle of the landscape. On August 28 in Valle del Cauca, Colombia, a man was jogging along a trail when something unusual caught his eye. In the middle of the quiet landscape, he noticed a metallic-looking sphere moving steadily through the air. Instinctively, he reached for his phone and began filming, focusing on the object as it traveled above the hills.
¿Eso qué es, Dios mío bendito? Para los que no creen, estoy en el Picacho, en la cruz del Picacho.
The video shows the sphere gliding across the valley, keeping a smooth and silent path. The man tried to keep up, filming as long as possible, but eventually the sphere went out of sight, disappearing behind one of the hills.
Está sobrevolando la cruz. Para los que no creen, para los que no creen. Para los que no creen. Dios mío, hace si no sobrevolar la cruz. Ya casi estoy llegando.
Wanting to get a better look, the man quickly climbed the hill, searching for any sign of the sphere. However, when he reached the top, the sky and valley were empty. There was no trace of the object. The area was quiet, and nothing out of the ordinary could explain what he had just seen. A few hours later, friends of his, paragliding nearby, also reported seeing and filming a similar sphere moving through the same skies, adding another layer to the mystery. Was this the same sphere spotted by both the jogger and the paragliders? How could it move so smoothly and then vanish without a trace? Has anyone else in Valle del Cauca seen this sphere? Or is it an isolated event? 3 hovering lights. On the night of November 24, 2025, over Chile, a witness spotted a series of lights hovering or moving in the darkness. The sky was clear, and the only visible shapes were these distinct lights. The scene drew immediate attention because the pattern of lights didn't resemble anything the witness had seen before. There were no sounds or obvious signs of engines or propulsion. Everything appeared still except for the movement of these lights.
Oye, mira estos huevitos que salieron. Mano, esas huevas no como nada, weón. Y esa hueá se duda de cortar la hueá en el cielo. Chile está como para el sur. Hacia el sur. Estoy grabando, tío. Sí, hermano. Voy a subirle para cachar que hueá esto, si no son drones, para esa hueá.
The lights maintained a specific formation for a long stretch, bright enough to stand out against the night but never flickering or changing color. From the ground, it was difficult to judge their distance or height, but they appeared to be holding a position in the sky, drifting only slightly. Some viewers have suggested that such sightings are sometimes caused by flares carried by skydiving teams during nighttime exhibitions. These flares can create patterns of slow-moving lights that seem to hang in the sky. However, the formation and behavior of these lights in Chile left some viewers unconvinced. They didn't seem to descend or burn out like typical flares, and the lights remained visible for a longer period. In the end, the lights slowly faded out, leaving behind a sense of curiosity and more questions than answers. The witness was left wondering, could this have been a skydiving team with flares, or was something else taking place above the city that night? What do you think these lights really were? Glowing rod. Just before I move to the next point, if you are new here and enjoy mysterious, unexplained UFO sightings, then do subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to never miss a video. In Brazil, on October 24, 2025, residents in Sao Paulo witnessed something that quickly caught everyone's attention. Against the dark evening sky, a cylindrical object with a blue glow was seen moving steadily and silently above the city. People stopped what they were doing to look up at the strange sight, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. Several witnesses started recording, hoping to capture clear footage.
Vamos ver se o iPhone vai, meu.
Johnny, mas me explica aquela bola branca seguindo ele.
Olha lá, ó. Aqui, ó. Aqui na câmera.
Olha na câmera do... Ah, isso aí não é estrela cadente.
The object appeared elongated, almost like a glowing rod or tube, and didn't behave like a regular aircraft or drone. It moved at a constant pace, traveling across the sky from one side to the other without any visible wings or flashing lights typical of airplanes.
O meu tá no 15 vezes aqui, ó.
Não, se persegue. Eu tava vendo isso naquela estrela ali seguindo ele. Não, isso...
Aonde essa estrela?
Starlink é monte junto.
There were no sounds of engines or rotors, and it didn't change direction or speed suddenly. The cylindrical light was steady, not flickering, and seemed completely out of place compared to anything else in the night sky. As the object continued its path, some observers wondered if it might be a meteor or a satellite, but it moved too smoothly and stayed at the same altitude for too long. As the sighting continued, onlookers watched in silence, many filming or taking photos. The glowing cylinder eventually faded from sight, leaving everyone questioning what it could have been. Was this an unknown atmospheric phenomenon, a new type of technology, or something else entirely? What do you think this object could be? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel to watch new videos.